Nova Scotia wines, and a little bit more. Woohoo!
Hey, happy Wednesday.
Cheers. Woohoo! Happy Wine Wednesday, Mira Boucher, Canadian wine lovers, all of you across the country. Here you go. You got a glass. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I think she has enough up there. Like, it's hard to miss what I brought you. So, welcome and happy Wine Wednesday, dear. Nice to see ya. You have a nice spot there.
Yeah, we switched today. Carl wanted to be there you go.
There you go. There you go. So Canadian wine lovers across the country, everybody. Oh my God, what a beautiful Wednesday. It's 32 degrees here in the Okanagan. We have a boatload of wine open. It's mean that there's a lot of work to do, but that I don't want to talk about it. But also because we have so much to talk about with all of you, because we had a historic event at our place right here on the deck where I'm talking with you right now. So we had this event last weekend. We have an event coming up this weekend that I want to talk about. There's a big national event happening in a couple weeks. So, yeah, and also we have a Nova Scotia feature wine next week. So much to talk about. I want to get through a whole lot. I don't think that I can make that happen in just an hour. So you will have to be patient with me. That's maybe why I pour you 4 glasses of wine. But anyway, bonjour Mira. How are you?
Bonjour, bonjour. Ça va bien et toi?
Ça va très bien. Merci beaucoup. Un beau bonjour à tout le monde en français, across the country, partout au pays. On vous dit un beau bonjour, un beau mercredi. Écoute, c'est l'heure du Wine Wednesday. On va parler aujourd'hui de l'événement historique qu'on a eu en fin de semaine passée, la verticale de rosé Pinot Noir. On va aussi parler de l'événement qu'on a en fin de semaine, l'événement dans 2 semaines, puis on va parler de vin de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Donc, restez avec nous, ça va brasser, on a des choses à parler sans bon sens. Mira, yours.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'm just so excited for what just happened. We tasted 12 rosés going back to 2012. And then coming up on this Sunday, we're going to be tasting over 60 Chardonnays, aren't we?
That's pretty crazy what's happening in our life right now. I'll tell you one thing.
But yeah, let's talk about the vertical, because I know some of you guys would have wished you could be there. Some of you guys were there. We had 20 members with us, and I'm so grateful for that, because originally when we had this idea with Daniel, we were like, oh, let's just invite a small group from the media. Let's do a big PR stunt and invite some people from the media. And then we're like, you know what? You know who really deserves to be the first to taste this rosé vertical, like the first ever that we've done in Canada? It's the wine lovers. That's the whole reason why we make wines, right? It's for you guys. So we tasted it with 20 members, and it was epic, wasn't it?
It was unreal. Listen, I knew it's going to be pretty cool because I tasted the 2013 a couple months ago, and I was stunned, like how fresh and how alive this wine was. So prior to that very moment, when that happened in the Similkameen Valley with one of our members, Olivier Lemoyle from Quebec City, we tasted Daniel just like pull out a bottle, like, you know, when the guy cut a hole in the box in the middle of a full pallet and pull a bottle out. And
this is great because I actually caught it on camera. So here's the exact moment where this vertical.
Surgical operation by the end of
Oh my goodness.
the second vintage of Seven Directions.
Second vintage. Holy.
Yeah, fermented in one oak puncheon for 3 months.
Look at that color.
Okay.
Try that.
Wow.
I was losing my marble at that
However-
point.
Wow.
That's
The wines
the
get
new
darker as
vintage,
oxygen enters.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
So
Okay.
I like to say
That's
it's
true.
going back to its
It's fruits.
red grape
Yeah.
origin. Right?
Yeah. That's true. I was like,
Nice.
holy shit.
So that's
was-
when we pulled that out. We're like, you have a 2013 of your rosés. What else do you have?
Oh, you say, oh, well, I have like every vintage. We said, what? What do you mean you have every vintage? It's it's like, yeah, all the way back to 2012. Oh my God. Mira and I, our common hamster, or both of our hamsters were freaking going bonkers here. And like we started to think, and yeah, that's that very day where that idea started. And getting closer and closer to the date, I kind of feel like surreal. Like it's not gonna happen. Anyway, it was just so amazing. We sat down here. We had 20 members, 24 people total, including myself and Danielle, the winemaker, and Mira and Christine, Danielle's wife. And guess what? Not one bottle was faulted. Not one bottle was in decline. Not one bottle was disappointing. Like everything, oh my God, everything was off the chart. I don't know about you, Mira, but I just couldn't believe how well and smooth everything went. And the wine show so well. I mean, you want some highlight? I can spend an hour and a half tell you highlights, but
Give us some highlights. I mean, I'll play a couple clips while you're talking so people get an idea of what it was like, okay? So you tell
Okay.
us what were your
But
highlights.
for me, like quickly on top of my head, there was 4 vintages who really stood out. There was 2013, 2015, 2018, and 2021. So these 4 vintage stood out to me like crazy. Listen, I don't want to discount 2022 because it's the current vintage and it's the highest rated rosé, but I knew how good 2022 was. I knew I rated it. I tasted it 4 times already this year. But 13, 15, 18, and 21, they all like really stood out to me. 15 and 13, they feel like they were interconnected with the spice at the end and that orange marmalade. They were like cousin, right? Like these two were really close. 18, it's probably the most seductive nose that I had all day. The nose of the 2018 was just so sexy. Was just so aphrodisiac. Oh, it was freaking surreal. I love 18 was kind of my little love affair of the day. Let's put it that way. And 2021 was really surprising because of the vintage, because it's such a crazy vintage with the heat dome and like so many things happened in that vintage, and the expression, the nose was so expressive, the wine was so rich. At that stage, 21 shows beautifully. So that leads me to talk about, like, I'm not going to name any, like, I don't want to name people, but you know, people like Michael Pincus. Oh, shoot, I did. I wasn't supposed to name people. Shit.
Who recently did a rosé report, which I think is great when people publish these kinds of things. But it was like a self-defeating rosé report because it started off saying rosé's never going to be one of the greats.
Yeah, well, why? I don't understand that people rate rosé above 90 points. I don't believe why, like, rosé are not made to age. Rosé pretend to age. It's not really aging properly. And I like a bunch of things that I don't even think.
Misconceptions, let's say.
Misconception. What we had in our glass last Saturday, it was, I wish he was here. I wish that him and other people in our industry who keep saying that rosés are not part of serious wine, is just like a summer pleasure. I hope there was most of them were here with us, because geez, wow, it was absolutely magic. It was absolutely magic. We had another winemaker in the room where like it was pretty cool to see his expression. I I was in touch with him at the day after, and he couldn't believe how, like, why and how that this freaking magician of Daniel Bontorin, the guy that I call the rosé master, he is truly, truly a magician with rosés. It was absolutely freaking crazy to taste back all the way. And let's keep in mind, it's important to repeat, it was single vineyard, single varietal, right? That's what he does. So it was Pinot Noir only. It was the Kalala vineyard back in West Kelowna from 2012 all the way back to 2016, I believe. There was one-off Giant Head, no, not Giant Head. What's the name of Cannon View Vineyard in Summerland, and the whole history, the whole chronology of Tractor and Vines from Summerland. But to see from the very beginning, the inception of Tractor and Vines, the growth and the modern day of Tractor and Vines, I have absolute goosebumps talking about it right now. Like, I have goosebumps. I feel like I just had sex. Oh my God, it's creepy.
You get goosebumps after you have sex? That's good to know.
It was magic. Truly, truly a magic afternoon. And thanks to people who joined us. It was great. And hopefully, we're gonna do that again. And we can offer that to more people, because geez, it was special. So yeah, 13, 15, 18, 21 were my four vintage that stood out to me. But all of the others, they all had a little something. And I think that no kissing. I'm with you, Daniel. But the thing is, there was so much more into these bottles. There was so much live still, right, Mira? Like there was not one bottle you feel like, okay, this bottle.
I mean, it was fascinating. Look at this. So this is the 2012, the oldest we had, and it has a little bit of crystallization in there, which happens with older wines, right? So that was fascinating to see. But even that 2012 was still like, had vibrancy, it still had fruits, it still was super enjoyable. It just had these added layers because of the age. It was really interesting.
Well, exactly. The little of there was no over oxidation, there was no tiredness, there was no the acidity was bright and shining in every single one of them. So yeah. So here we have one of our members who was present said, what struck me was the length and the finish with the older vintages. I know, it was crazy. And the popping acidity. And when other experts are saying that you need to taste the rosé in their vintage, like the year following the harvest, or at the very most the second year after. That's just like no, like we were talking about over a decade of aging, and the experience was off the chart. So yeah. So what did lead us through? So we said, okay, you know what? It was just so freaking amazing. We already did a weekly feature with Daniel earlier this year. We did the first release of Seven Direction in Canada, and we say, hey, you know what? For people who missed it, or people who are running out, there's a little bit of wine left. So how about that? And Daniel was like, okay, let's do it. But by the way, Daniel also do another brand who's called K Little. So he has a K Little White and a K Little Red. It's like, okay, why not put in one of each in that pack so people can see what he does? K Little White, 2018 vintage, a blend of Gewürztraminer and Pinot Gris, which tastes really good right now. And it's not the thick and sweet style of Gewürztraminer. Bone dry. I mean, it's
It's aged really
very.
beautifully, and I
Eh?
found it really enjoy. It's aged really beautifully, and I find it
Yeah.
really enjoyable.
Yeah, and again, the acidity remains, and it's like it's beautiful. I just had rated like 89 plus points, just on the verge of 90 points. Nice texture, but not overly good, not overly gooey. Like I like to say sometimes Gewürz can a little bit too Gewürz, and then the Pinot Gris just round that up and make it a little bit more approachable, like, really well. And the Kilo Red, I mean. You know what? Merlot Cap Franc. This is a little baby Bordeaux, or like a little bit more, to me, a little bit more Washington style, but bright acid. This one's going to age for under 3 to 5 years. So nice $26 barbecue wine. So yeah, so that's Daniel here, the 2021 vintage. So we throw that in the pack. 4 rosés, 2 of each vineyard, plus 1 of each of the Kirello. And also what we offer, there's 24 bottle available. So that Bottega Merlot right here, okay? Thanks for putting that up, Mira, because it might be the best Merlot I had this year. Wow. I mean, this
Very
is
good.
a 92 plus point Merlot. It's rich, it's seductive, it's complex, it's mature. A 2015 Bottega Merlot. Daniel made 50 cases of that in 2017 when he bottled it, but like from the 2015 vintage. So now, 8 years old, he brought a bottle at the Rosé Vertical, and you should have seen people's face when they tasted that little sample at the end of the tasting. That people were all like, what, hey, excuse me, what is that? Like the richness and the soft texture is so velvety. The tannin are so graceful, and that is something else. So you know what? These day and age, for $50, sometimes you can be disappointed. It's one of the best $50 bottles I have. And guess what? There's 8 years of aging. And there's only 2 cases left, so only 24 bottles available. But I'm telling you, if you like Merlot, darn, get a couple bottle of that. It's really freaking worth it.
Totally. So funny, 3 years ago, almost to the day, we launched the first ever winery feature with Carl's Wine Club. We were brand new. And who did we feature? These guys. 7 Directions and K Little and Bottega. And I think at the time it was the 2014 Merlot that we were featuring. But yeah, it's just come full circle. And I remember at the time, the 2014 was quite big. Do you remember that? We tasted it and we were like, it's almost like too big. But I guess it's aged really well. So it's
and 14 and 15 vintages are very different. So 15 is such a great vintage, especially for Merlot. And yeah, it just shows. You know, this wine will never show better than what he shows right now. It's at its peak. There's nothing going down the curve. It's all at the top of the bell curve. Like, we caught that wine in its absolute prime. And that's one of the coolest things in wine. When you taste the amount of wine that we taste every year, and you get in one of them, and you're like, holy shit, this is that we caught that one right at the perfect time. And
it's got all its
it's got everything. It's got everything. It's got everything.
Super impressive. Hey, I just want to say from the comments, it's so nice to see you guys. Jeanette, Danny, like they were here for the vertical. I think that's Clay and Joanna in the VIP group, in the private group. And Daryl was saying he's having a 2018 Croz Hermitage Paul Jaboulet N.
All right. Paul Jaboulet N.
Carl Boucher, translate it for me, who doesn't know anything about that.
So Croz Hermitage is one of the an appellation in the Rhone Valley. So the Rhone Valley is split between north and south. In the south, It's more. It's the Châteauneuf du Pape. No, Gigondas is up north. But anyway, so split into Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, the GSM are in the south of the Rhone Valley. Lead by Châteauneuf du Pape, the most famous appellation. Up north, where the Syrah is king. So Syrah, with a splash of Viognier, that's where you got that co-fermented Syrah in the north. Crozes-Hermitage doesn't do, I believe, the co-fermentation. If I remember correctly, my old school of wine, but yeah, beautiful Syrah. Paul Jaboulet, I had the chance when I had my previous business to do a full Paul Jaboulet pre-release with some of his top wine, with Hermitage, with Côte Rôtie, and some of this. But Crozes Hermitage is a little bit, I would say it's a more affordable appellation, but also make absolutely fantastic wines. So yeah, so that's what Daryl has in his glass here. So there's some good stuff too.
I get it now. Awesome. Hey, what's in our glass? Speaking of,
So
because you poured me 4 here, so
I pour you 4 because I really feel like
So.
I really wanted to make good impression on you. You've been working so hard all day. While I'm sitting here by the lake and doing tasting notes and spitting and and you've been busting your butt off up there. So I thought to get you a little taste of what we've done last night, because last night we had a heck of an evening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we did a cross country. We went across the country last night.
We did.
We sure did. We had some BC oysters served with some Nova Scotia wine. Yes, Nova Scotia wines are in the house. We got our shipment from Domaine de Grand Pré. This is the 8 bottle of Domaine de Grand Pré. We're going to be on feature next Monday. And last night we started to taste these wines, and let me tell you one thing. I don't know if you have the picture, but this there's a little accident happened with this.
Yes.
This is a brut. This is a traditional method sparkling from Nova Scotia, Domaine de Grand Pré. They call it the Nova Scotia Brut. It's a blend of L'Acadie Blanc and Sével Blanc. So 2 of the hybrid grape, but it makes a stunning sparkling wines with the beautiful seashell aromas and bright, crisp flavor. It was stunning with our oysters.
We didn't quite have it chilled enough, though, I think, because
Well, what happened is I chilled them in the freezer. It got so cold, and after that, I left them out, and I kind of forgot about it. I mistreated this bottle really badly, and so I think with the freezer, and then after that, with it warmed, it created something in there. But anyway, when I took the cage off, and boom, it went all the way, it was, I think almost to the roof. Geez, that it was something else. But the most surprising thing of all, after the eruption, the bottle was still full of energy. The bottle was super vibrant. So, and it was so delicious. Oh my God, that I enjoyed that.
especially with those oysters.
Oh my God. This is, to me, that competes with some of the 13th Street sparkling that I had. This literally, it was an absolute beauty. I truly enjoy every single sip of that sparkling. And after that, so unfortunately, this was gone. So there's no more of that. We went through the whole thing. The notes are halfway done, and I give it a 91 plus. I'm so excited about that.
Really enjoyable.
Excited about that.
And a great price. I think 28 plus tax. So that's for sure
26
for us.
plus tax, I believe. 26.
26
So
or plus tax. Very good price considering it's traditional method and it tastes really good.
well, that's the thing, right? It's not Charmat. It's not carbonated. This is traditional method. Oh, and like I said, an absolute beauty. L'Acadie Blanc, Céval Blanc. Yeah, I mean, anything seafood, anything shellfish with that. Please, yes, please.
Well, that was the funny
And
thing, you know, and we've got them all in the glasses here, right? I think
not
the
all, not
right?
all. I have
Well, some
three
of
of
them.
them. Yeah.
But last night we were having fresh shucked oysters with these wines, and we kept saying, like, is that oyster shell on the nose, or is that just like our fingers, right? So we kept washing our hands to see, but now is the ultimate test, Carl. Now I can tell if it's really oyster shell on the nose or we were just imagining it. Now
Exactly.
I'm getting the oyster shell on the nose. Like these wines like make you feel like you're in Nova Scotia. Although I've never been in Nova Scotia, but I imagine it smells like seafood.
It might be gross
Does
and
it?
disgusting. It might be gross and disgusting, what I would say, but my spit cup smells like the ocean right now.
Oh my God.
It's weird. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. So
My
the
wine
first
smells
one,
like
the
the
first
ocean.
one you have here, it's the new 2022 Tidal Bay. Okay, so this one is very special. Well, a couple of reasons. First and foremost, because it's a creation of a few winery owner in Nova Scotia when they decided to don't go with the VQA appellation. They didn't want to do the VQA thing, but they really wanted to do something typical, exclusive, to bring the terroir of Nova Scotia together. So they created their own appellation, the Tidal Bay appellation, with their own rule and regulation to make that wine. So
An appellation wine.
an appellation wine, exactly. And now I have the whole rule and regulation on a piece of somewhere on an email that they sent me. But I think there's 14 type of grapes that they can put in there. But it's mostly in here. This is mostly the l'Acadie Blanc. So l'Acadie Blanc, Céval Blanc. There's Ortega. There's a bunch of things that they can put in there, but it's just that roundness, but that salinity versus the seashell, like the oyster shell type of thing. It's
The nose is
I know, it's just like so unique Nova Scotia, but bright. It's a little off dry, like just slightly off dry, but not sweet at all. It's just like pear and a poached apple. It's just absolutely fantastic. And it's like $20. Like, I mean, like the price is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so that's the Tidal Bay, and that's the wine that was going to be served at the Pan Canadian. So for our Pan Canadian wine masterclass, this very Domaine de Grand Prix Tidal Bay will be served, and we'll tell the story of the Stutz family, where Hans Peter, who started Domaine de Grand Prix, is now retired, and the son, its daughters and son, anyway, the whole family are taking over. But he was part of these very few winery owner to start the Tidal Bay appellation, and we'll have that super special wine served at one of our now 11 wines served at our first Pan Canadian Wine Masterclass in Niagara on August 12th. So that's why we were double excited last night when we opened that bottle, and it didn't disappoint. 2021 was great. 2022 might be even a little bit rounder. I just love it.
I think we were saying last night, even a little bit more body to it, but it's so spectacular.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's a little bit, just a little bit more robust or a little bit more body.
So much fun with these. And there's one in this pack. I think we've tasted pretty much all of these, but there's one that we haven't, and it's not a wine. This will be the first time that we're featuring a non-wine in the club.
Absolutely. And for people who are who likes their European or French stuff, you may have heard the name of Calvados before. So Calvados, so is a liqueur, a brandy that is famous from France, and so anyway, they are making a Navados over there. So it's pretty cool to see. I don't have any. Okay, how about you wait for me a second? I'll go get the bottle. Okay.
Are you going to open it?
Why not?
There you go. Got to open it tonight anyway. Very exciting. So it's an apple brandy, from what I can tell. I know nothing about apple brandy. Even what Carl is saying about Calvados or whatever, I don't know. So you guys can let me know if you're brandy lovers. But we just thought we got to try this. It's made by the same winery, and why not make it available? If you guys want to throw that on as an add-on and see, it's not super pricey. I believe it's around $40. I don't want to missay that. But a great, we had some members over the other night, absolutely wonderful people, Ross and Teresa. If you guys ever watched this, it was such a pleasure to meet you. And we had them on our deck, and it was kind of unplanned little get together. And this little brandy, I think, would have been perfect for dessert. Sadly, it arrived the day after we met them. But always as wine lovers, I'm always looking for like a suitable little dessert wine, and not always want to get the ice wine open. So port is nice. And maybe we'll expand into this brandy. Also down south in Osoyoos, Mythology Wines, run by Mark Simpson, formerly Siren's Club. They are making vodka out of the grapes, vine vodka.
So here the thing is with Calvados, it's an apple brandy. That's what Calvados is, right? So here you switch like Calvados for Novados, so a little twist with Nova Scotia, so Novados. So it's an apple brandy. So it's aged, it's made with apple, and it's aged in oak barrel. So
Novados, like Nova Scotia.
yeah, absolutely.
And is Calvados, is that like a place that it's named after, or?
Boy, that's a good chance, because in France they usually name everything after a place. So
There you go.
yeah, oof. You'll have to come down and get. Oh, here, wait a second, Cedric, I need your help, buddy. Can you come here, please? Come here. I need you to grab that to mom, to go get that to mom upstairs, please.
Woohoo!
Okay, so this is for you. I
Thank
have
you.
I have a courier is going to bring that to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So much.
Mr. Cedric, I need your help, please. I'll put it here. You don't have to be on the camera, but come and drop it off. Go give it to mom, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Cedric. Thank you.
So that's my. Yeah, so Novados. So it's pretty exciting. That's so funny because I'm still smelling the ocean. Here.
Yeah, I swear. All these wines from.
Don't drink it. Don't drink it.
I'm still
Thank
excited to know. So you poured me the Tidal Bay.
I poured you the second one. The second one is the L'Acadie Blanc. So L'Acadie Blanc is one of the main component of the Tidal Bay, and also one of the two wine who makes the sparkling wine. So a very key.
Acadie Blanc is the varietal, right?
Yes, L'Acadie Blanc is a hybrid grape who was mostly grown in Ontario back in the 80s. L'Acadie Blanc was one of the main grape in Ontario in the 70s and early 80s. When they developed the Annapolis Valley and the Nova Scotia, it was one of the first hybrid that they took from Ontario to plant in the region, and they realized that it was growing it was perfectly suited for the Nova Scotia terroir. So it became one of the staple of Nova Scotia. Barely grow anymore in Ontario. It's almost exclusively anywhere in the world. It's pretty much exclusively in Nova Scotia where l'Acadie Blanc grows. So
it's a little ironic because it has Acadian in the name, right? And it grows so well there, even though it wasn't developed, I don't think, for that region specifically. But now it's only there. So there you go. And I have to say something before you tell me what you think of this brandy. As we were drinking these wines and we were having fresh shucked oysters, I was like, how cool would it be in a couple of years to like sit on the shores of Nova Scotia with a bunch of Carl's Wine Club members and have fresh seafood with Nova Scotia wine? Like that's it's got to be a bucket list thing because I'm smelling these wines and I feel like I can smell the sea mist. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, the l'Acadie Blanc is a little bit more herbaceous. There's, I would say, that's the floral, herbaceous, a little rounder in the mouth. I believe that it probably brings the body into the sparkling wine and the richness in the tidal bean. The Cheval Blanc maybe bring the more of the zippiness. I don't have it. I never have the Cheval Blanc on its own, so I can't really say. But on its own, l'Acadie, it's a $16.50 wine, okay? $16.50.
So, but
still, and chilled. I mean, chilled bring a little bit more zip at the end. So yeah, it's an enjoyable wine, and that's that a little bit more florality. That's like that salinity that it's undeniable. So yeah, so that's the l'Acadie Blanc, the true.
Okay, I'm glad Mike LaPlante, the average wine enthusiast on YouTube, is on the show with us because he says Calvados is the French word for apple brandy. To call Calvados by that name, the apples have to be grown in Normandy. Of course they do, because the French are very specific about names, right? But that makes sense. So apple brandy. I gotta tell you, I got the wine, or I got the brandy down here, and I can smell it from up here. Like it's got this gorgeous vanilla-y kind of. Oh yes, I get the apple in there. I get that it's made from apples. That's cool. It's almost like a poached apple with vanilla.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's crazy how my spit cup smells like the ocean. It smells like oyster. So, and the third wine is the Riesling. It's the 2022 Riesling. Last year when we did, this last year or 2 years ago when we did the feature, it was my favorite wine from the whole pack. This is the new release. Listen, there's so much definition around the flavors. If you didn't tell me, I would have said it might be a Beamsville Bench Riesling. I like it's the quality is fantastic. The definition of flavor is so like it feels like it was cut with scissors, like so precise. The edges are really, really, really sharp. Sharp in the sense that not sharp aggressive, sharp defined. So green apple, this is like green apple, citrus, a little bit of poached pear in the mid palate, but like front and back, it's green apple and citrus. And it finishes with the citrus peel, a little tartness at the end that just close it up, looks like a crunchiness, like zing.
I gotta tell you, I had a sip of the brandy, and then I had the Riesling, and I'm like, oh, I love the Riesling. Like I love the cream because it takes you on such a journey. This brandy, I'm sure it's great, but it's so different in the mouth, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and yeah. So that Riesling still like to me, it keeps there's a really good continuity with what I had the first vintage that I tried previously. So yeah, lots of fun. And you have a fourth wine because I wanted to celebrate one of our friends' winery who won his first gold medal at the National Wine Award, and. Congrats, Marcel Morgenstern and the Bellaterra team with the Riesling Wild Ferment. Here, wait a second. The kids just came back from the lake, so he needs a towel. There you go.
So I got 2 Rieslings, a Nova Scotia and an
You
Ontario.
got it. You got it. So the Bellaterra, it's the 2020 Wild Ferment. So we already, I give if I remember correctly, I think I give a 90 points to the 19 Wild Ferment. Now I haven't tasted this one, but it's the newly gold medal awarded to Bellaterra. And I often talk with Marcel, and we just shake our head on the National Wine Award, right? And like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, really? Like there's some weird stuff going on there. So as much as there's a lot of make sense things, but sometimes there's some nonsense. And anyway, congrats, Marcel. Congrats to Fred Duprofio, Lou Puglisi, all of our buddies at Bellaterra for that amazing wine. So cheers, side by side with Domaine de Grand Pré here. So 2 Riesling to finish off the show. Oh, the nose is explosive. Woo!
Ah, I love these wines.
Oh, yeah.
I can
Oh,
tell they're
yeah.
both Riesling, which is good.
Hey?
As a newbie, I can tell they're both Riesling.
Yeah, but different, like, it's really zingy. Like, the Bellaterra is so zingy, like, really, really, really citrus. At least on the nose. I don't know on the palate, but on the nose, it's like it's lemon, it's lime, it's white flower.
Mm. You're happy?
I love the richness.
Mm.
It's really zippy on the nose, but when you get on the palate, there's much more creaminess than I was expecting. Rounder, softer edges,
Mm.
a little bit of pineapple, and like mingling between ambrosia apple and pear, but really strong, solid structure of acidity too. I mean, it's really complex. Yeah, I like that. Even a little bit of caramel at the end. Really cool, really cool. Maybe a little bit grilled pineapple. Super cool. I like that a lot. So well done, guys. Really well done.
Very nice.
So
speaking of Tidal Bay being at the Pan Canadian Masterclass, I know many of you guys tuning in are going to be there August 18th in Niagara. And then we're also doing something at Sioux's staff on August 19th. But August 18th, I wanted to say a big, huge thanks to what, Carl? Our sponsors.
yes.
We have 2 awesome sponsors for the Masterclass happening on August 18th.
So that's some of our guest speaker right there. So Lou Puglisi, Brian Schmid, Elias Sanchuk, Rob Amersley, Keith Dyers, these 5 guys. And there is probably another one, Richard De Silva, who, according to what he told me, according to his last words before he left for France, say, okay, I spoke with my wife. We're going to be there.
Really?
So,
That's
absolutely.
So amazing winemakers. I just can't wait for them to talk to each other. That's going to be cool. Just that.
And the coolest thing is not that. Yeah, it's to have these guys, the brain power, like the collective talent and experience and stories among these guys is absolutely incredible. And now put these guys in the middle of 50 wine lovers. And like we just need one guy to ask.
Yes.
Imagine that. One of the guests say, hey, you remember this and that, or like in 1989, and now I like just can picture that, right? Boom, the conversation goes somewhere. And it's going to be insane because the amount of knowledge, the amount of stories between these guys, it's incredible. So yeah, no, put a bunch of wine lovers in the middle of that, but like asking question in a Carl Boucher and a Mira Boucher and a Marcel Morgenstern, lighting up the fire to create these freaking conversation. It's gonna be insane. Now that's the experience part, right? Experience in the sense of knowledge, in the sense of the masterclass. But now think about the wine that you're gonna taste that day. That is pretty really cool. Like I'm looking at the lineup, and every time I rehash the lineup and I try to find a crack and say, yeah, I can't. Yeah, like the wines there is gonna be fantastic. Okay, listen to that. The Tidal Bay, okay, one of his kind, Tidal Bay Appellation, Nova Scotia. That's going to be one of the wine. One of the other white will be the Skin Contact Pinot Gris from Alderlea Vineyard in the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island. So this is a very special Italian technique that they're using for that. Stay tuned. I have a video of that. It's Zach Brown, owner, winemaker at Alderlea, sitting in the vineyard, explaining how they produce that very specific technique of doing the Skin Contact Pinot Gris. So it's going to be really cool. And the color of that wine is mind-boggling too. So that's a second wine. So Skin Contact, Alderlea. Third, Chenin Blanc, 2022 single vineyard from the Silva Winery right there. Okay, maybe you can't see because there's kind of a fire in the area, the Osoyoos fire, so we can't see across the lake right now. But right across the lake is the Naramata Bench. One of my top wine of the summer, 93-point Chenin Blanc, made by Richard De Silva Winery. It's in the lineup. We have also the 2021 Elevation Riesling by Brian Schmid at Vineland Estate. There's a whole story behind that. The whole story of the Weiss family, the connection with Brian's family, and the whole growth of the Niagara wine industry around this connection, the family connection of these two families is absolutely fascinating. And Brian said to me on a phone call this weekend that the 2021 Elevation, when I asked him which wine would you like to feature, he said, no doubt, the 2021 Elevation Riesling, because it's one of my absolute favorite Riesling that I ever produced. So this is exciting because that guy is a legend walking. And when he says it's one of his very favorite wine that he produced, I cannot wait. Okay? So there's one more white. And it's the it's the 2019 Southflow Chardonnay from Clausen Chase. A 94 plus points rated this spring, one of my absolute favorite Chardonnay. So no, not the Southflow, sorry, it's the Church Side, because it's the new release, the 2020 Church Side. Oh, something like that. Chardonnay from single vineyard Chardonnay.
Church Side,
from,
yes.
Yes, church side from Clausen Chase. That's what closed the white
Oh, geez,
lineup
I hope
of.
it's just me.
You're on mute, Mira. Oh no, you're cut. I lost you. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think
anyway,
it's cutting out.
there you go. So for red, we have the 2019 Senchuk Vineyard by Leaning Post from the Lincoln Lakeshore appellation. We have my number 6 wine of the year this year, the Bellaterra Cabernet Franc from the 2020 vintage, one of the greatest wine that I tasted last year. There's the 2019 Original Vines Cabernet Sauvignon from Montboucherie. There's a whole story behind that. This is a very, very talented winemaker from Ontario who moved to BC to pursue his dream to make big and bold wines. And Jeff Undermart was his first vintage at Boucherie, and the Original Vines program. All of the fruits are from the Similkameen Valley, one of the greatest region to grow grape in the country. So, Mount Boucherie, Original Vines, Cabernet Sauvignon. Also, the 2019 Red Icon by Painted Rock. I mean, Painted Rock do not need a ton of introduction because they are one of the most known incredible producer in our country. So the 19 Red Icon, like Billy, does 95 points, Anthony Gismondi and other critics. So here is our lineup. And
Amazing.
no, we're not done. There's a new wine, a new addition.
Oh, yes.
A mystery wine from a legend. These exactly. This is from this very vine here. Sal D'Angelo, a man who started in Niagara and moved on the Naramata Bench 25 years ago and built a 13-acre vineyard farm and makes some super cool wines. And guess which kind of grape that he grows there? Montepulciano. You heard me well. Montepulciano grapes on the Naramata Bench. Is the only one to do that in the whole country. No one else grows Montepulciano. He released his first rosé of Montepulciano this year, and he saved 6 bottles for the Pan-Canadian Masterclass.
So on Rosé Day, we tasted it. It wasn't labeled yet. We just tasted it, and it was so good. And they got a lot of foot traffic at the winery after that. A lot of people saying, hey, I heard about this rosé. So it is going to sell out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sold out by the time we do the masterclass.
Yeah, by the time that the masterclass rolls in, that wine will not be available anymore. But the cool thing is there's a couple barrels of Montepulciano Red
in the barrel. Yeah.
So anyway, so we're gonna have the rosé available at the who's gonna be served as a welcome. Right?
Did you taste the reds yet?
Nope, I haven't done that. I might have a little video of that to present at the master class or something like that.
Amazing. So yeah, if you can make it to this master class, it is the place to be on August 18th. And we'd like to give a big thank you to our sponsors. So we have Lakeview Vineyard Equipment. We're really grateful for their support as a supporting sponsor, and also ASL Print FX. They're responsible for a lot of the labels that you see on tons of Canadian winery wines. So thanks to these two amazing sponsors for helping make this event possible, so we can fly out there and have a blast with you guys. We also have some exciting media potentially joining us at that event. So it's going to be a heck of a time, and very, we kept it small and intimate for a reason. So it's going to be max 50, 60 people. And we'll be right in the Bellaterra vineyards there, either in their production facility or down by the lake, depending on how the mosquitoes are.
And you know, the I lost what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh, did I get you thrown off with the mosquitoes? Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. Anyway. No, I completely forgot what I wanted to say.
Well, what I want to say.
Oh
is
yeah, what I wanted to say is that yeah, this is cool. This is a very small amount, like the very intimate masterclass. We wanted to keep it really exclusive. There's going to be media, but the coolest thing of all is it was so exciting for a bunch of people, even for people in BC, that they have decided to make the trip to Ontario. We have
Right.
people just hopping on the plane and coming for the weekend in Niagara because this event is a must see. It's a must. People feel like they can't miss that. So this is really freaking cool.
The after party of the Rosé Vertical was something else. So the members that were there, some of them stayed with us after for dinner. Our neighbor threw
No, put that. Give me back the camera.
4 pulled pork shoulders on the smoker for us all day, and we popped open some magnums. Oh my God, what's that?
But this is not a Magnum. This is a 3-liter. That was a 2014 Syrah from Times Family of Wine.
A Jeroboam.
Daniel brought this wine was absolutely off the chart. John Skinner, if you're listening to me, wow, your 2009 Red Icon was something else. That was fantastic. So yeah, Magnum of Red Icon 09, a 14 Jeroboam of Times Syrah. We had some Pearl Morissette. I don't know how Pearl Morissette came out of the cellar. But
Sadly, I'm so sad, but I think it's starting. It's like it was at the peak when we featured it 2 years ago, and it's starting to go like this. Some people really like that, the tertiary aromas and whatnots. But yeah, it was a little bit sad for me because I liked it the way it was when I first met it.
yeah. Yeah, but the good news though, we're doing another feature with Pearl Morissette in early September, and we're gonna have the 2018 vintage feature in there. So and plus 3 other exclusive wines, so it's gonna be pretty cool. And so yeah.
Okay. So let's end on this one thing, okay, guys? Look at this madness here. Look at this.
Oh yeah. Oh, and there's much more now. Like the last 2 days, we got maybe 10, 12 more bottles added to that.
Yeah, so that is like, you can see Carl with his sling in the background there, poor guy. That is just, those are just some of the Chardonnays we're going to be opening on Sunday. Sunday afternoon. It's a long weekend, so if you are not out in the middle of nowhere camping, maybe you want to stop by live, tune in virtually, crack open some Canadian Chardonnay, and chat with us as we taste through these. And if you're in the Okanagan, by the way, we have backstage passes for members this time. We've never done that before.
Exactly. So if you want to taste 65 or so Chardonnay, and I'm talking like some of the top Chardonnay in the country. We're talking Thomas Batchelder. We're talking Le Clos Jordan, Domaine Caylus. We're talking Hedenbench, Malivoire, Stonebridge. What else we're talking about? We're talking about Da Silva. We're talking Meyer family. We're talking Upper Bench. We're talking there is a Case Spring. There's Nova Scotia. There's Domaine de Grand Prix. There's Courcelette in there. So there, yes, Mike Laplante, you're right. Clausen Chase. There's Carlo Estate also. There's Rose Hall Run also. So 3 wineries from Prince Edward County in that Chardonnay marathon. So it's pretty cool. And Rust, Mount Boucherie, 2 different from Mount Boucherie. There's Rust.
bit of age on it from Painted Rock, because we want to talk a little bit about the ageability of Canadian Chardonnay.
Painted Rock, also Colmina. So yeah, like Peak Cellar. So there's like name it. There's so many. So if you're into Chardonnay, you're in the Okanagan, you want to have a heck of an experience, come backstage. There's going to be a winemaker at Black Market. Rob's going to be there sitting with you guys and some other friends. So get your pass. I have 6 backstage pass for that. So let me know.
There's that. And
again,
stop by. It's a fun thing to do on your Sunday afternoon. Just stop by, see what wines we're tasting at that time. You're going to learn so much about Canadian Chardonnay, and maybe discover some new ones that you think you might want to try. So, yeah.
Westcott's not going to be arrived though. We're getting some Westcott. We're going to arrive just after, but yeah. So, do you mind to put the link for this event again? Not for this event, the link for the rosé, the rosé. So Daniel's pack for this week, the flash feature. Because if you missed 7 Direction earlier this year and you realize that it was my top rosé of the year again this year for 3 years running, and if you say at some point I need to taste these rosés, well, guess what? It's available for this week again. If you order some and you're like, oh, darn it, I'm going to run out, but it's time, because there's something like out of 250 cases of Tractor and Vines, they're down to less than 50. So that's not going to last very long, and they're going to be out of the 2022. So if you want to stock up, the link is right there. And there's a few other little wines available, plus that 2015 Merlot that is absolutely off the chart as well. So the link is right there. If you missed 7 Direction earlier this year or you want to restock, that's the time.
And then I'll also put the link for the August 19th or 18th masterclass.
Yes. So if you want to join us, if you want to party like a rock star, if you want to be in the middle of some of the legend of our wine industry, if you want to hang out with Brian Schmidt, with Ilya Sanchuk, with Keith Tyre. Keith Tyre is one. We did a lot of interview in 3 years, right? A lot of really cool interview. I mean, like some really, really epic interview. Keith Tyre interview, it's in my top 3. And I'm not joking. We realized at some point that we were talking for an hour and a half. And I was just about to leave for Singapore. And we just couldn't stop talking. I can't wait to hang out with these guys all together. This night will be something to remember. I'm telling you.
Yes.
So.
And Daniel and Christine are saying they wish they could make it. You know what? Well, hopefully we're going to bring this kind of event over to the Okanagan as well. So it'll be epic. Great. Well, Carl Boucher, we better go. We got a chicken in the oven.
We got a chicken in the oven. I need to taste the Novados.
Did you not, because you were worried about your palate? Because after I tasted, I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, I needed to finish the wild ferment and all that, and I have a ton of tasting notes to do in the next. But I have to do it. I have to taste it. I sure have to taste it. So yeah. So we have a couple of Riesling here with our roasted chicken. I think it's going to be absolutely perfect. That Tidal Bay, oh, I can't believe this is so good. I just had another splash, and that Tidal Bay is fantastic. So next week, we're going to have Domaine de Grand Pré. I think it's $155 for the 6-pack.
That's pretty good.
So it's pretty exciting. Pretty darn exciting. And so yeah, Domaine de Grand Pré next week. We're going to have a recap of the Chardonnay Day. But if you want to be part of it, tune in because we're going to be live for 5 hours on Sunday, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific. That means 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Crack a good bottle of Shards. Join us and share your thought with me. So, yeah, it's going to be freaking amazing. So, Mira Boucher.
Carl Boucher, have a
Canadian
great
wine lovers.
Wednesday.
Have a great rest of